I want to talk about what suffering does to people and how it changes how they view other people. Suffering can make a person who's kind and caring and empathic cruel and cold and callous. After you've suffered for many years of your life and been mistreated by people, some people, it can fundamentally change their character, and it gets to the point where it estranges you from humanity. You don't feel connection with people anymore. You deal with them on an as needed basis, and the rest of the time, if at all possible, you try not to deal with people at all. I married someone who had been treated really badly all while growing up by their family, by members of the community. They had been abused very badly as a child, as a minor, and they really didn't like people at all. They didn't want anything to do with people. And I had a similar notion. I didn't dislike people. I just didn't want to be at their mercy, because most often, for some reason or other, some people felt like I was a safe target because I was kind, because I tried to help other people and make the world a better place, and I was positive, and they just wanted to bring me down to their level. They wanted company in their suffering, their misery. And despite the fact that I continually tried to help these people, as time went on, some of them continually just tried to destroy me and cause as much hardship for me and mine as possible. And now the result is that those people, eventually, it came back to them, and when it did, I had little to nothing to do with it. But suffering changes people, and most people, it changes them for the worse. It doesn't help them. It gives them a perspective on what it's like to be oppressed and to go without, and to be in a condition of misery and pain. But it doesn't help them. Not really. It teaches you, in some cases, if you're really thoughtful about it, it teaches you how not to treat other people. And I feel like it's really an unnecessary experience. When you're already a good person, you're already trying to make the world a better place and help other people where possible, and you withhold judgment. It makes you believe that there is a devil, and there has to be a God too if there is a devil, because all this stuff that happens, sometimes these people, you're like, what are they thinking? Have they gone mad? When they do these things to you, to your fellow man, and they say things like, I was watching the news the other day, and I heard this guy yelling at this other guy, total stranger, they didn't know each other, and the guy yells at him, "Give us your house, give us all your money." And I said to myself, what? But I think that people who are oppressed, people who suffer a lot in their lives, sometimes it drives them mad. Some people might think that they're possessed or something. I know that sounds crazy to some people who don't believe in God or the devil or demons and angels, but it really makes you wonder, when they really get to doing some unusual stuff, these people out there, like, what has gone on with these people? What's wrong with them? Are they, mentally ill? And, the experiences that they've been through, a lot of the time, put them under such acute stress and hardship that they don't reason the same way anymore. And so, These are people that when you encounter them, you really have to guard yourself. It's not that they mean to cause you harm a lot of the time, but that's exactly what they'll end up doing if you don't protect yourself from them. You know, and that's the sad thing, is that a lot of the time, if you're there, you've come to help them out. You've come to assist them, and they've reached a point after somebody suffered really bad for long enough. Some of these people lose the capacity to differentiate between friend or foe. I know that sounds really wild. It sounds out there, but that's what happens. You know, they've gone kind of mad. They've gone kind of crazy, and it's hard to come back from that. You know, it really is. You could be doing everything in your power to help them, even for an extended period of time. But after a person is abused very, very badly for a long time, it can have very lasting, permanent psychiatric damage, psychological damage, and they can develop debilitating mental illness that makes it so that they don't reason well anymore. What ends up happening is that oftentimes they end up homeless, or they end up on Skid Row working as a prostitute or something, and people wonder what happened to that person. Why did they choose that life? It's not usually a choice. People don't choose to live badly or live in a subhuman condition most of the time, not by intention. That's just where they end up, you know, after they fail to get the help that they need. But I've seen people who, no matter what kind of good that they got, they were incapable of feeling gratitude. They almost felt as though they were owed the outcomes that you were giving them, the help that you were giving them after everything they'd been through. And in a way, you know, human beings should help each other, but because they didn't experience gratitude anymore, they were incapable of showing true appreciation. A lot of the times they ended up causing people that were helping them difficulties, or even in some cases killing them. I want to cite an example. It's not entirely unrelated. There was a tribe down in South America just recently. This was in the news. And a guy who had been advocating for them with local government and other organizations to protect them and keep them insulated from the outside communities, the outside world. He was going to visit them to do a documentary, do pictures and stuff, and basically kind of try to bring awareness to their situation so people could understand why they need to be left alone. And he was shot with an arrow by one of these people who, in their ignorance, not understanding the language or understanding who he was or what he was trying to do because of the way that their culture was, they killed him. He pulled the arrow out of his chest, and he ran a short distance, and then he collapsed and died. But you know, that's a prime example of how living so differently can lead people to destroy people that are trying to help them. And they fail to differentiate between friend or foe. You know, and that's a little bit different from how suffering changed your perspective, but it's not that far off. I don't know if people will ever change their way of thinking in regards to each other. I make these videos, and I don't know if anybody's ever going to watch them, but maybe in posterity one day it'll make a difference. I don't know.